All right. Yeah, 12:13 is good afternoon. All right, let's start with an update for you on Gaza. Our humanitarian colleagues are telling us that since yesterday, humanitarian supplies have entered Gaza through both the Rafah and Karim Shalom crossings. While this is indeed a positive development, the conditions to deliver humanitarian aid at scale, while this is a positive development, the conditions to deliver humanitarian aid at scale that responds to the people's needs still do not exist as the fighting continues. I can tell you that on Friday, our World Food Program colleagues, through their partners, distributed more than 9,000 hot meals to internally displaced people in 3 locations in Rafah. Together with UNRWA, the World Food Program is bringing in and distributing flour and other supplies to bakeries south of Wadi Gaza. Our humanitarian colleagues also say that efforts are underway to restore telecommunication services on the 5th day of a shutdown that has hindered humanitarian operations and access to information. And on Saturday, December 16th, a joint UN mission reached Al-Shifa Hospital. That hospital, as you know, is in North Gaza. The mission was there to deliver health supplies and assess the current situation. The team brought with them medicine, surgical supplies, orthopedic surgery equipment, and anesthesia material and drugs for about 500 people. It's the 3rd humanitarian convoy that has managed to reach North Gaza since the fighting resumed after the humanitarian pause ended on December 1st. The World Health Organization reports that Al-Shifa Hospital is only minimally functioning. Once the most important, largest referral hospital in Gaza, Al-Shifa now houses only a handful of doctors and a few nurses, together with 70 volunteers working under what WHO staff describes as unbelievably challenging circumstances, and tens of thousands of people are also using the hospital grounds as shelter. WHO is committed to strengthening the hospital in the coming weeks so that it can resume at least basic functionality and continues to provide the life-saving services that are needed at this critical time. Also want to flag to you that Rick Pieperkorn, the World Health Organization's representative in the occupied Palestinian territory, will act as the resident and humanitarian coordinator for the UN ad interim. This follows Lynn Hastings' departure on Saturday, and that was because of the non-renewal of her visas by the Israeli authorities. We will, of course, keep you updated when a new humanitarian and a resident coordinator is for the Palestinian territories is appointed, as well as the deployment date, and that person also serves as the deputy special coordinator to the Middle East peace process, deputy to Tor Venesland. The Secretary General thanks Ms. Hastings for her dedication and professionalism and the independence and impartiality she consistently demonstrated in her role. And also want to flag to you another humanitarian situation which is dire, to say the least. In Myanmar, we and our humanitarian partners today published the 2024 Humanitarian Needs and Response Plan for that country. The plan paints a grim picture of the humanitarian situation in Myanmar nearly 3 years after the military takeover. A third of the population, that's about 18.6 million men, women, and children, need humanitarian assistance. That's 1 million more people than last year, and almost 19 times the number of people who required assistance before the military takeover 3 years ago. Children are bearing the brunt of the crisis. Some 6 million of them need aid due to displacement, interrupted health care and education, food insecurity, as well as malnutrition, and many of them are also facing protection risks, including forced recruitment and mental distress. The economic situation is placing families in increasing financial distress. Interruptions to agriculture, as well as rapid inflation, are making it increasingly difficult for people to access and to afford adequate food, raising the specter of malnutrition. The health system is in crisis, and millions are without safe shelter or drinking water. Women, girls, and people with disabilities and stateless Rohingya people are among those impacted by the most dangerous environment. In the face of soaring needs, humanitarians have prioritized 5.3 million people for assistance, urgent assistance, in 2024, and for that we will need $994 million US dollars. Updates from two of our peacekeeping missions, one in the Democratic Republic of the Congo. A number of you have been asking me about the elections in that country, and I can tell you that our peacekeeping mission in the country remains committed to providing support to the electoral process ahead of the general elections that are taking place on Wednesday, the 20th of December. As of today, 255 tons of electoral material have been transported by the mission in support of the Congolese authorities and that has taken place in North Kivu, South Kivu, and Ituri provinces where the mission is still deployed. The mission is also working closely with the Independent National Electoral Commission to extend logistical support beyond these provinces within the UN's existing resources and without impacting our ability to deliver on our mandated activities. And this was requested by the government of the Democratic Republic of the Congo and authorized by the Security Council on December 14th. Over the weekend, the head of MONUSCO, Bintou Keita, welcomed the Security Council's favorable response to the DRC's request to authorize the mission to provide limited logistical support to the Electoral Commission. In a tweet, Ms. Keita also expressed her concern at the escalation of violence, acts of vandalism, and destruction of campaign material, as well as hate speech that have punctuated the electoral campaign. Serious human rights violations and abuses have been recorded, she said. And in Abyei, our peacekeeping colleagues in Abyei, UNISFA, the peacekeeping mission, report that an agreement has been signed by members of the Miseria and Ngok Dinka communities to prevent conflict during the traditional annual migration period. The agreement was reached at a conference held in Nung in Abyei province, which was jointly organized by the peacekeepers, the Food and Agriculture Organization, the International Organization for Migration, and Concordis International, an NGO, to help communities negotiate the mass movement of cattle ahead of the dry season. The peace deal also seeks to prevent tensions between farmers, displaced communities, the Ngok Dinka, and Miseria, who, as nomadic pastoralists, move their cattle to reach fresh pastures between January and April each year. The agreement also sets out migration corridors to be used by the pastoralists to enable freedom of movement and refers to conflict mitigation mechanisms as needed. Earlier this morning, the Secretary General held a virtual plenary meeting with his high-level advisory board on artificial intelligence, where he had an exchange with them on the draft interim report. The members of that panel are working to finalize the report that will be made public by the end of the year. All stakeholders will have an opportunity to provide inputs through their online submission form. A presentation of this interim report for all permanent missions will be held during the first half of next January. Additional information will be shared over the coming days with you. And just a reminder that the broader report will be published next summer ahead of the Summit of the Future. And briefing the Security Council this morning was Abdoulaye Bathily, the Secretary General, Special Representative and head of the UN political mission in Libya. He said he had invited the leaders of the 5 Libyan institutions to reach a settlement on the outstanding issues preventing progress in the electoral process, recalling his broad consultations with a wide range of Libyan civil society, among others. Mr. Bathily noted their call for election as soon as possible and their increasing disenchantment with with certain actors who are stalling. Mr. Bathily also called for the establishment of a unified national platform to coordinate the reconstruction efforts in Derna, where we, along with our humanitarian partners, reached over 200,000 people with assistance since the catastrophic flooding that you will recall took place in September. Mr. Bathily added that the protection of human rights and humanitarian situation of migrants and refugees remain a grave concern. Yet again, he said dozens of migrants and asylum seekers drowned last Saturday when their boat departing from northwest Libya overturned in the Mediterranean. He expressed his deep condolences to the families and wished a speedy recovery to the survivors. 3 p.m. this afternoon, the Security Council reconvened for a meeting on non-proliferation. Rosemary DiCarlo, the head of our political and peace-building department, will brief council members. You will have seen that over the weekend we issued a statement in which the Secretary General expressed his deep sadness at the passing of His Highness Sheikh Nawaf Al-Ahmad Al-Jaber Al-Sabah, the Emir of the State of Kuwait. He extended his heartfelt condolences to the family of the Emir and the government of people of Kuwait. In the statement, we underscored that His Highness was a distinguished statesman who contributed to the growth and understanding of cooperation in the Gulf and beyond, pursued strengthening relations in support of peace and stability in the region and around the world. And the Economic and Social Council's ad hoc advisory group on Haiti issued a statement today appealing to the international financial institutions to redouble their assistance to Haiti. The ad hoc advisory group was recently in Washington, where they held consultations with partners on the need for strengthened, sustained, coordinated support for Haiti in view of the deteriorating situation. The statement is available on the interweb. Today is the International Migrants' Day. The Secretary General in the message says that on this day we highlight the urgent need for safe migration, governance rooted in solidarity, partnership, and respect for human rights. It is also Arabic Language Day today. This year's commemoration coincides with the 50th of the proclamation of Arabic as one of the 6 UN official languages. Let's turn to an Arab speaker for the first question. All right, Tony, please.
Shukran, Steph. Steph, do we have any updates about the implementation of the mechanism of observation through the Security Council Resolution 2712 that the Secretary General was supposed to?
Yeah, we expect the Secretariat to share some ideas with the Council in the next 48 hours, I would say. Thank you. Toshi, and then Pam, Deji, and Edie.
Thank you, Steph. As you know, the DPRK launched intercontinental ballistic missile, which the SG repeatedly said it's in the violation of the Security Council resolutions. And also regarding the situation in Gaza, the Security Council resolution calling for humanitarian truce has not been fully implemented. What is your thought on the fact that the resolutions are easily violated and they have problems with implementation? Thank you.
Well, I mean, on the issue of the violation of Security Council resolutions throughout the years, I think we can have a long discussion on that across the board. Right. The Secretary General, I think last week or the week before, time flies, gave an update, verbal update on the implementation of that resolution. We will continue to update as required by the Security Council. We, of course, strongly condemn the launch of the long-range ballistic missile by the DPRK that took place yesterday, I believe. I think it's the 5th such launch this year. Again, we call on the DPRK to fully comply with its international obligations, including under relevant Security Council resolution. And I think it's important for to reestablish a communications channel so we can resume a diplomatic dialogue to achieve what the Secretary General has been called for, which is sustained peace and a complete and verifiable denuclearization of the peninsula. Pamela.
Thank you, Steph. Two separate area questions. One, you mentioned Haiti, Secretary General mentioned Haiti. There is a block in Kenya from the Supreme Court on the force that the Security Council authorized. Do you have any sense of when?
Somebody has a phone on. Okay, thank you. Go ahead.
Of when a force might get there?
No, I think that's a question to ask the Kenyan authorities. There's obviously, every country has constitutional process, and they're going through it. We do know that there was a visit by Kenyan officials to Haiti. I saw reports of the Haitian police chief going to Nairobi, so things are obviously moving, but it's up to those member states who will participate in such a force to say and to tell us, tell you, tell the Security Council when they would be able to deploy.
All right, and on Gaza, there is a draft resolution circulating, if it all works out to be voted on today, that calls for a cessation of hostilities, a lot of other things, increased aid. What's the Secretary General's view of further Security Council action on this?
Look, I think, we continue to deliver humanitarian aid in Gaza through, I think, what Martin Griffith called humanitarian opportunism, given that the fighting is still going on. It is clear that, any strong backing from the Security Council, a strong voice, would facilitate our work. Deji, then Edie, and then Dennis.
Yeah, on the border crossing, Karim Shalom, do you have more detailed numbers, like how many trucks have been passing through the crossing?
I think we're still trying to get those numbers.
Because I sort of want to know what's the ratio of the new Karim Shalom crossing and the one with the rocket.
Yeah, no, I don't have
Which
those.
which one is bigger?
Yeah, I don't. It's. Let me put it this way: it is Karim Shalom is equipped
Yeah.
to deal with this
That's
sort of
exactly why I
screening,
asked
right?
this.
Let's see what the numbers say when we get them.
Okay, my second question. We saw those draft resolutions with so many words: truce, pause, humanitarian ceasefire, cessation of hostilities, suspension of hostilities. I mean, from your perspective view, what are the differences and what those words matters to the Gazan people?
Well, I can't.
Is that just a
I
play of
don't.
words?
I can't even to start to speak for people in conflict. Right. What we have been calling for is a humanitarian ceasefire. We know there have been other words that are being used. We also saw a pause for a number of days, which was very useful for us, because and it bears reminding that while trucks are able to go in, the distribution of that aid is extremely difficult while the guns are not silenced and while the bombings continue.
So the most important thing is to silence the gun, right?
Yes, and the way we're going about it is by calling for a humanitarian pause.
We as Chinese reporters, we are now almost using up all the words to translate all those
Well, I
things
mean, I think
already.
neither of us are native English speakers, but we continue to discover that beautiful language. Edie.
Thank you, Steph. First, a follow-up on the difficulties in distributing aid. Is any aid getting anywhere in northern and central Gaza?
I think you may have come in a bit late, but I talked about a WHO convoy that managed to get to the
To
north.
Al-Shifa, but
Yeah. I'm not aware of any other point of distribution. I'm not aware of anything else beyond that in the
And
north.
my second question is, we are getting very close to the end of the year. Are we going to see the Secretary General?
I'm trying to find an appropriate quote from one of my favorite films, but I can't think of an appropriate one right now.
Yes? Well, what's the gist? Yes or no?
Well, the gist is when I have an answer to share with you, I will relay your deep concerns. How about that? Dennis.
My first question, Does the UN have any estimates how much fuel does Gaza needs nowadays? In terms of new crossings opened, so how much fuel does Gaza need, and will UN and its partners have the opportunity to provide it?
It needs more, a lot more than what is going in. I will try to get you a more exact number. I can speak for what is needed for our own operations, but let me try to get you more detailed digits on that.
And just to clarify, so my request about Butcher case in the UN mission, you'll answer it later in writing, yes?
Yes, sir.
Thanks.
To the best of my ability. Celia.
Steph, Bruno Le Maire is in New York and will meet with the Secretary General. Do you know what they're going to discuss?
It was at the request of the French mission, so you should ask them what they'd planned to discuss, and if I can get you a readout, I will. Let's go to the screen. Abdelhamid.
Thank you, Stefan. On December 6th, the Secretary General invoked Article 99. And as you know, it was vetoed, the attempt to hold a new resolution in the Security Council. Could you tell me what did he do after December 6th to try to stop this genocide going on in Gaza?
Well, first of all, if you look back at the transcript of the briefings after he sent the letter, we can go through the list of phone calls that he made with foreign ministers and others, especially those sitting on the council. He continues, and his senior aides continue to be in contact with all the relevant parties in order to get a humanitarian ceasefire and to have more humanitarian access.
Okay. My second question. On December 9, 1948, the UN General Assembly voted unanimously for the Convention on the Prevention and Punishment of the Crime of Genocide. So this is the 75th anniversary. There are two senior officials who are supposed to deal with what's going on in Gaza and classify it if it's genocide or not. The special advisor on the crime of genocide, Miss Alice Nderitu, and Mr. Karim Khan. They both are missing in action. They don't say anything. Ms. Nderitu even deleted the statement she issued against Hamas.
What is your question? Because I think you asked me about Ms. Nderitu earlier. I can't speak for Mr. Karim Khan, as you know, but what is the question?
Yeah. My question, where should we ask who can verify if what's going on is a genocide or not? All the doors are closed.
Without taking away from the seriousness and the tragedy of the situation, I think I've answered that question from the Secretary General's point of view over and over again, and I don't have different words to use. Ibtisam.
Thanks, Steph. Talking about the Arabic Language Day, is there, first my question, is there a reason why you guys, when you talk about Karim Abu Salim, don't use anymore the Arabic word or name of that checkpoint? And my other question is about a report of Human Rights Watch that says that Israel is using starvation as weapon in the war in Gaza. Do you have any comments on that? Thank you.
On your first question, we're using the nomenclature we use that we've been using. On your second question, we've seen those reports, which are extremely concerning, to say the least. We expect to have new information on the hunger situation in Gaza released before the end of the week, which I think will provide some very interesting observations and numbers.
Just a quick follow-up. I'm not sure I understood your answer on my first question, given the fact also that you used to use in the past the name Karim Abu Salim. So why now you stopped? So
I don't recall using that name. If I did, then and I don't recall, I apologize, but I'll look back. But that's the name that's given. It doesn't, I mean, yeah, I mean, that's what I'll say.
But why wouldn't you use the Arabic name of that crossing? Because it is a crossing with the occupied Gaza Strip, and this is the name in the official name in Arabic too. So why not use both names?
It's a valid question. Miriam.
Okay, am I going to get an answer on it?
I will
mean, if
do,
not now, later?
I will do my best, Ibtisam, and you know where to find me if you don't feel I'm giving you an answer. Miriam.
Thank you, Steph. My question is in regards to attack by Yemen's, Iran's aligned Houthis on the Red Sea, which is disrupting maritime trade and prompting U.S. efforts to send more support in the region. Does the Secretary General have any opinion on that, and is he at all concerned about a spillover in the region, especially by Houthis and also in Lebanon and Syria?
We have been expressing our worry since the beginning of this current cycle of a potential spillover into the broader region, right? As far as the Red Sea is concerned, we've spoken out quite a few times condemning these attacks on commercial ships. Not only are they impede the freedom of navigation, which is a critical to our global economy. It is also part of international law that ships be allowed to navigate freely in international waters. In addition, there is a potential risk of an ecological disaster should an oil tanker be hit, and we've seen attacks on oil tankers. So on all these grounds, it's something that's very concerning for us to see, and it's something we're calling on to stop immediately. Okay, Monica, all yours.
That's a good idea. Thank you very much, Steph, and good afternoon, everyone. I hope you are well, and once again, congratulations on a very successful annual event. That was fun. So, the President of the General Assembly, Mr. Dennis Francis, will convene a plenary meeting of the GA to pay tribute to the memory of the late Amir of the State of Kuwait, His Highness Sheikh Nawaf Al-Hamad Al-Jaber Al-Sabah, whose death was announced on Saturday. The plenary meeting will be held on Wednesday, 20th of December at 10 a.m. in the General Assembly Hall. The PJ said that His Highness was a distinguished leader and statesman whose contributions to peace, development, and cooperation constitute a legacy far beyond the Gulf region. This morning, President Francis led a minute of silence in honor of the late Amir of Kuwait during an informal briefing to member states on the situation in Haiti, which took place in the ECOSOC chamber. The PJ spoke this morning on his official visit to Haiti, which he undertook last month from 20th to 21st November. President Francis highlighted the coordinated action among the General Assembly, the Security Council, and the ECOSOC this month, when all three presidents of the UN bodies come from Latin America and Caribbean countries. During his visit to Haiti, the PGA delivered a message of solidarity and sought to cast a spotlight of the political, security, and humanitarian crisis gripping the country in order to spur action. He also encouraged stakeholders in their commitment to national dialogue, paving the way to elections and the establishment of democratic institutions and the rule of law. President Francis noted that the lack of security and the terror of gangs clearly impact every aspect of life in Haiti. He stressed that violence has robbed the Haitian people of their freedom and rights and is stifling the country's development. The PJ stressed that women and girls are subject to brutal sexual violence, living in a cycle of fear and trauma. He asked for the urgent deployment of the multinational security support mission authorized by the Security Council on 2nd of October. And as you heard before, the PJ issued a post on his ex-social media account to mark this International Migrants Day. President Francis asked all to honor the invaluable contributions of millions of migrant workers, students, entrepreneurs, artists, and in countless other roles, enriching societies worldwide. He stressed the need to enable safe, orderly, and regular migration, which will contribute to prosperity, innovation, and sustainable development, fostering a better tomorrow for all. And the OPJ announced last weekend the selection of 6 candidates as fellows who will join the program during the current session. They are Ms. Brenda Pumarol, Dominican Republic, Ms. Maria Davi Collins, Kiribati, Mr. Sokinira Pretasi, Lao People's Democratic Republic, Ms. Florencia Mitinwigi, Malawi, Mr. Lado Lobor Lado, South Sudan, and Ms. Andrea Tukweka from Zimbabwe. Following the call for nominations, the PJ's office received 37 applications from member states. 68% of the applications were female candidates. And last but not least, President Francis delivered remarks this morning on the Arabic Language Day, which is commemorated today for the UN. Arabic, which is spoken daily by more than 400 million people, is considered a pillar of humanity's cultural diversity. In his remarks, the PJ highlighted the rich array of contributions across various disciplines that attests to the depth and breadth of Arabic influence. So, shukran to all of you. This is everything we have for today. Do you have anything else? Here or on the screen? So I see Hamid there. So Hamid, go ahead. How are you today?
Shukran Sadiqati.
Shukran.
So it's Arabic Language Day, so I should talk to you in Arabic, yeah.
I need an interpreter, but go ahead.
On December 9, 1948, the General Assembly adopted by consensus the Convention to prevent and punish the crime of genocide. So it is the 75th anniversary. My first question, did the GA mark this anniversary? Did they do any kind of celebration or any kind of activity to mark this occasion? And then I have a follow-up question.
Sure. On that, I'll have to look into it for you, Hamid. I don't have any information. What is your follow-up question?
My follow-up questions, there are 2 competent offices to deal with genocide. And both offices are failing their duties. The Office of the Special Advisor, Alice Nderito, and the Office of the Karim Khan, the prosecutor of ICC. They both did not live up to their duties and qualify what's going on in Gaza as a genocide. Would the PGA put his thought on this and see if what's going on in Gaza, since he is entrusted with the resolutions adopted by the GA. 1946, in fact, the GA adopted that resolution to prevent genocide.
Sure, thank you. Thank you so much. I really appreciate your question. I really appreciate your question. As also, I have the pleasure to hear it for the second time because I was here when you asked the staff as well, because I come for the previous briefing. No, it's my
And
pleasure.
I don't get an answer. By the way.
No, it's my pleasure. Basically, that's the answer for you, Hamid. This is a matter for a competent court to decide. So if we have any news on that, I will be the first one to bring that to the briefing for you. But I appreciate your question and understand it as well. So anyone else on the screen or here? If not, I'll say thank you so much. I will see you tomorrow. Thanks.